You might be wondering, why is a VTuber working for a counselling firm? Let me share with you a little about my job. I'm Sarol Qaida from Healing Heart Counselling, and my role is to provide insight on mental health issues such as trauma, depression and anxiety, along with tips on how to manage them. We will also be talking about therapeutic approaches for your consideration should you decide to seek help. For our counselling services, we specialise in trauma, depression and anxiety disorders. We also help in the areas of grief and work-related stress. Healing Heart Counselling is a Singapore-based private practice and is the only company in Southeast Asia offering VTuber telecounselling as an alternative to online face-to-face. Now you might be wondering, what is VTuber counselling? What purpose does a VTuber model serve in therapy? How can a VTuber help the client? And what are the risks involved? Vtuber counselling is a system in which either the counsellor or the client uses a Vtuber model in place of his or her real face. Now, the rationale behind why a client would opt for a counsellor to use a Vtuber model in therapy is to assuage the following: the perception of judgment, hypersensitivity towards the therapist's facial gestures and body posture, the need for distance, and the client's struggle with social anxiety. The notion of distance, as described in this video, is a therapeutic divorce from the personal touch and invasiveness which one might experience in face-to-face counselling. This serves as a foundation for rapport, whilst creating a safe environment for clients requiring an impersonal approach. Despite the benefits of using VTuber models in therapy, it is the better part of wisdom to mention the risks as well. These risks involve the reliance on VTuber models for interactions, adverse effects on certain disorders. Now there are a few conditions with which VTuber models should never be used in therapy: DID, dissociative identity disorder, anorexia and bulimia nervosa, body dysmorphia, gender dysphoria. VTuber therapy is permissible on a case-by-case basis for gender dysphoria and is primarily used for psychoanalytic purposes: bipolar 1 and 2, schizoaffective disorder, and delusional disorder. For clients battling PTSD, the use of a VTuber model helps by serving two purposes: the creation of distance and grounding through the use and presence of a model. There is one more benefit I forgot to mention. The use of VTuber models in counselling can also serve as therapy to treat social anxiety and interpersonal communication issues. The mechanism behind this treatment of social anxiety is a concept known as unconscious learning, which is essentially learning without awareness. This is achieved throughout the therapeutic relationship by utilising the impersonal approach afforded by VTuber models in a clinical setting. Before we end this video, I have a few questions for your consideration. If you're a VTuber, how does your model resonate with you? What aspects of yourself does your model represent? And how do you manage stresses that come with VTubing? Thanks for joining the introduction to Healing Heart Counselling, and I'll see you again in about 2 weeks.